Hello, good morning. It's Saturday the 8th of August 2020 and we're making our video a bit later today because we didn't get up until 5 to 7, which is not like us at all. And we decided to have our showers, cook our beans and some vegetables for breakfast, then go out for our walk, which was glorious this morning because it's a beautiful day. Come back, have our breakfast, and now before we do the washing up, make our video. So yeah, we're back and it's been a wonderful week. The weather's a bit too warm for me, but I'm coping. I'm just about coping. I'll kick off with my weigh-in results. We had started again every day this week videoing my actual live weigh-in with the thought of showing some of them, if not all of them today. But then my camera had a bit of a hiccup on Wednesday, wiped off those videos, those clips, wiped off a load of photographs of food and our fridges and things that Joe had taken, and also wiped off a half-hour video that we were going to put up. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It's not, in the scheme of things, it's not really important, is it? We're alive, we're kicking, we're healthy, and we're losing weight. Well, I am. Joe's maintaining his. So everything in the garden's rosy. Okay, stepped on scales yesterday because I weigh in on a Friday for my Slimming World Zoom group on a Saturday, and I lost 1.5 pounds. So to give you a visual for that, and this is really incredible. I wish you could feel this, because you know, standing here with the bag on your shoulder with 1.5 pound of something in it, you're aware of it. It's like, it's not a featherweight. So to give you a visual, I have a tin of garden peas and a tin of bamboo shoots? Water chestnuts. Those together weigh 1.5 pounds. So that's what I've lost this week, 1.5 pounds. And that is my 11th consecutive loss. Doris was smiling about it the other week that I could remember all the numbers. So I'm going to say 11 losses, and it was 1.5, 3.5, 2.5, 2.5, 2, 2, 1, half, 2, half, 1.5. And those 11 losses add up to £19, £19.5. If I started at 10 stone 4, I am now 8 stone 13. So what's that? £19.5. 10 stone 4.5 to 8 stone 13. You might have to work it out for yourself. My maths is not brilliant at this time of day. But in 10 or 11 weeks, I've got back into the 8s, which is, some months ago I made a video and I said I wanted a weight that starts with an 8. And I've done it. I'm back into the 8s. And I think I've even surprised myself this time. I can be very goal oriented. I can make a decision about something I want to save for, somewhere I want to go, something I want to do, and I'll work for it. And I think that's the key word, you know. I've worked for it. But every day, the food's been a pleasure. Every day, I've been satisfied. Every day, I'm not craving. And that's because I'm eating my free foods, like Slimming World advises me to. And yeah, I'm just kind of, not smug, that's not the right word. I can't think of the right word. I'm just self-satisfied, I'm content, it's working and I love it. And I don't intend to change a thing. Now, I'm having wacky breakfast, but again, you know, Chef AJ says eat veg for breakfast. I'm doing it. This morning I've had diced swede. You know, you can buy a bag of diced swede in the supermarket. So I've had half a bag of diced swede. I've had 1/4 pound of, what kind of beans have I had this morning? I forget the names.
You had butter beans and, oh no, pinto and cannellini.
Pinto and cannellini. Not red kidney?
No.
No. So I've had pinto beans, cannellini beans, I've had half a bag of diced swede, and I've had some nice flavours in it. What did I have? It tasted like garlic.
Cumin, salt, garlic, yeah.
Linseed?
Yep.
Yeah. So
and then an apple.
And then an apple. So a really crunchy, filling, healthy breakfast. But the beauty of it all is high fibre, but it's low calorie density. So I'm actually quite stuffed, quite full, quite comfortably full. And I won't want anything until my lunch at about 1:30, 2 o'clock. And that's the beauty of eating this way. I'm not permanently wanting to graze, and snacking doesn't even come into my mind. That is such freedom, such freedom. Anyway, so I actually, weighing during the week, I actually got back into the 8 stones like Tuesday or Wednesday. And then of course you go like that, don't you, a little bit, and I was back 9 and back to 8:13 and then 8, 12, 8, and oh. But I have to just take that one weight for a Friday. Whatever it does during the week, I take that one weight on a Friday, and that's my Slimming World weigh-in. So to be back in the 8s, I thought I deserved a reward, a treat. Well, it's not going to be food, is it? Not like fattening food, not like something I shouldn't be eating. So in my comments section this week, there was a comment from Mariah Busby talking about balsamic vinegars, because I have been talking about balsamic vinegars. And she gave me a heads up on a company, and as a reward for getting back to where I wanted to be, the 8s, I actually went online and ordered myself 5 or 6, I can't remember, probably 6 different vinegars. Now if you buy one proper size vinegar, so I ordered 200 mils of the caramelised onion balsamic. You can then order as many as you like, samples, 20 ml samples of different flavours, so you can then eventually order bigger ones in the flavours you prefer. So I've got strawberry, I got fig, I got passion fruit, I got, come on Joe, 2 missing, strawberry, fig, passion fruit.
Onion.
No, the onion was the big one.
Oh, mango. Pineapple.
Mango and pineapple. So having tasters of those small ones, because I'm not sure about some of them, beats paying £9 for 200 mils and then discovering you don't like it. So I'm waiting on those to come. They should be here in a couple of days. I also bought as a new set of measuring spoons, because we've had ours years and they get lost in the bottom of the drawers and whatever. So Joe found these and he's going to show you. These go from a 2 tablespoon down to a 1/16 of a teaspoon.
Yeah, they're not showing up very well on the camera because they're black. They're just all blending into one.
Okay, unclick them and show how they really are magnetised and they really stay together.
Yeah.
You see?
Yep.
Yeah. £2.99 from Amazon, and they're the best measuring spoons we've had ever, because they're really strongly magnetised and they will not fall apart in your drawer. So that was that. And then I also ordered myself one of the small Instant Pots, because we'll put our big Instant Pot on to do a whole load of beans, and we'll put it on to do 5 pounds of potatoes or whatever, something big and bulky. But sometimes if I just want to do enough chickpeas to make a hummus, or Joe just wants to do enough red kidney beans for a couple of meals or something, it takes a long time to get it up to pressure. So what what we decided to do was I treat myself to the small one as well. And it says with the small one, a great accompaniment to the 6 litres, 6 pints, whatever.
6 quarts.
6 quarts, which is nearly 6 litres. So yeah, that's coming today. And I must say, at this stage in the things we've got, the kitchen gadgets and utensils and things we've got, the things we use the most are our Le Creuset pans, our Instant Pot, and we use our air fryer, but not as much as we use the other stuff. So we're really well equipped now. We've got no excuse for not cooking, and we cook 3 times a day, don't we? Can I just share with people what you've just eaten for your breakfast? Because this is a fabulous example of how you can eat and not gain weight if you're eating the right kind of low calorie dense foods. Do you want to say it or shall I?
No, you can say it.
You just had a whole bag of spring vegetables, a whole bag of mixed salad, like I don't know what kind, like 3 or 4 different leaves.
Yeah.
A large pepper, about 300 grams of quinoa and brown rice.
Yeah, cooked.
Yeah. A bowl of mixed beans.
No, tofu.
Tofu, sorry, yeah, it's breakfast, yeah, tofu. All sorts of condiments, and in his grains he chopped up celery.
Yeah.
And he was huge. His breakfast was huge. And I don't say that to make him feel guilty for eating a lot. I say that to show you that on Slimming World, that whole meal would have been free.
Yeah. Apart from the linseed.
Apart from the linseed, yeah, which you can count as a healthy extra B, but you didn't have a full healthy extra B.
And then had strawberries for pudding.
And then he had half a big
punnet.
punnet of strawberries for pudding, breakfast pudding. And it just blows my mind that, you know, this is, I mean, Joe isn't doing Slimming World, but this is how we eat anyway. But the whole of that breakfast, which I could not have eaten, it was so big, it was a man-sized meal. The whole of that, with the exception of the linseed, which would have been half a healthy extra B, the whole of that was free.
Oh, and nutritional yeast.
Nutritional yeast, which would have been half a sin.
Yeah.
And if you can eat like that, and eat that quantity and that bulk of food, why on earth do we ever need to be hungry on this planet? Why do we need to be eating half a piece of fruit and half a yoghurt and like treating ourselves like that's all we can have? It just makes me feel quite sad. That brings me to talking about a book I found yesterday. I was reading something else, a book by Jay Hicks, which is about plant-based eating. And I came across the title of another book, which was Eat to Live by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And I'm going to say Fuhrman is spelled Fuhrman. If anybody wants to look at him, he has a website called drfuhrman.com. A lot of his information is freely available on there. But I came across this book and so I immediately thought, ooh, went straight on Audible and bought it for myself. And you know what? By this morning I've read it. And when I say I've read it, I don't mean it was necessarily a tiny book. It was a reasonable book. But it was that kind of book that you like, I'll turn it off in a minute. I'll turn it off. It was on Audible. I'll turn it off in a minute. Oh my God, this is so interesting. He understands me. He understands how I've always been greedy and obsessive and addicted to food. And he's given me a solution. And again, what he was teaching, what he was talking about, and this guy is incredible. But what he was teaching, what he was talking about was literally everything that fitted into Slimming World if you focus on free food. And I'm thinking, I can eat that. I can eat, everything he was saying, do this and cut out this and don't, and eat as much as you want and have a minimum of 4 pieces of fruit a day, a minimum, but you can have as many as you like, and eat your greens and have grains, and beans are your friend because they're full of the right kind of fibre. And also, they've got the right kind of nutrients. And his belief is very much H equals N over C. That's his formula. Health equals nutrition over calories. So a lot of what he focuses on, again, low density as far as calories are concerned, but high nutrition, so that your body is getting the best of everything. So I spent most of the night reading this book, and it was such a hot night I wasn't sleeping anyway. But I spent most of the night reading this book, and I woke up this morning and I said to Joe, you've got to order yourself a copy of that book on Amazon. You need to read this book, it's so interesting. So I'm going to recommend it. If you look on Amazon, you can buy the paperback with postage. I think it came to about £22, £23. I don't know if you haven't ordered one yet, have you? You were thinking about it. They've got used copies if you want to order a used copy from about £5 or upwards. I won't at the moment because of the virus. I know it can be carried on paper and I'm being ultra cautious, but we will order ourselves a paperback copy. But I'm just blown away again that these people are so clever and can actually communicate the information. And I was just thinking to myself, oh my God, he's teaching you not to diet. Because what he's teaching is, it's not about, how did I put it when we were out walking? It's about the quantity you can eat as opposed to what you're actually eating. So if you're eating bread and cakes and all the stuff that's low nutrition, high calorie, you can't have very much before you start putting weight on. But if you're eating the stuff that is high nutrition, low calorie, and actually if you're like me, you like to be full and everything, you can eat so much more of the right kind of food. And I think this is what's happening the way I'm eating on the free food on Slimming World. The quantity of food I'm eating has gone up, but the amount of weight I'm carrying is going down. And the way Joel explains it, it makes such sense. But I sit there thinking, for goodness sake, you're nearly 64 years old. Why have you never seen this before? Because I wasn't willing, because I wasn't teachable, because I thought I knew best. Because I thought I was a victim, because I thought I was the only fat person who couldn't lose weight. Oh, woe is me. I went through my life thinking, I can't do this, I can't. Well, now most of the time I don't want to do this, I want somebody else to do it for me. Somebody needs to fix me. Why can't I just, I mean, I've even said stupid things like, I wish they could put you into a coma for 6 months, and then after 6 months you woke up and you were a size 10. How stupid am I? There are poor souls who are in comas for 6 months. Wouldn't their families just love to have them back? And I am so stupid that I'm thinking being fat could be resolved that simply. And do you know what? If I'd woken up at a size 10 or 12, do you know what I'd have done? The first thing I'd have done was said, where's the chocolate shop? Where can I get cake? Get me some toast and butter. I remember every surgery I've ever had in my life, and there's not been that many, only about 4, but every surgery I've had in my life, I've come round saying, can I have pie and chips, because I'm starving. My husband used to think I was funny because he's never had surgery, I don't think, but he'd like be saying, how can you? You've just been unconscious for so many hours, and the first thing you ask for when you open your eyes is pie and chips. Yeah, because I'm starving. I'm not going to throw up or anything like that. Don't bother getting me a cup of tea. Get me something to eat. Because my whole focus was always about what could I eat next. And I always wanted a simple solution. I've done every fad diet and more besides. And I know I can stand here today at the age of 64 and say to anybody who wants to hear it, who's willing to listen, fad diets don't work. They really don't. Because nothing will work unless it's a permanent change. It's the only thing that's ever going to make a difference. And if you're thinking about joining Slimming World or any other plan, Weight Watchers, I don't know, any other plan that's out there, any other type of diet that's out there, before you join anything or start anything, just stop and ask yourself, am I prepared to do this for the rest of my life? And if it's something like Cambridge or the cabbage soup diet and that can answer the question for you, because nobody's going to do that for the rest of their life. Nobody's going to drink Cambridge shakes or eat cabbage soup every day for the next 10, 15, 20 years. You've got to find a plan that you would be happy to do today, this time next year, this time in 5 years, this time in 10 years. Because if we start doing something and we don't keep it up, we firstly won't lose the weight, and bigger than that, the bigger picture is we won't keep it off. And the more books I'm reading, all of these people quote, whether it's the NHS, the American health people, whether it's all of these clever doctors I'm reading about weight loss from, they all say that only between 2 and 5 people in 100 who lose a substantial amount of weight keep any of it off. And like I'm saying, standing here today, I've lost 13 stone 1 pound. And if only like 2 to 5 people in 100, how the hell do I know I'm going to be one of those people? I know because I'm sticking with the way I eat. This has been like, I've been at Target or around a Target for over 5 years now. And yet I let it slide at the start of lockdown, but I needed to do that. I needed that experience of feeling, not like I'd failed, but feeling that I was fallible. To know that I am absolutely no different to anybody else. And if I don't stick to plan, whatever my chosen plan is, if I don't stick to it, I'm going to put the weight back on. I don't think that, like physically, we can, whether we've been like 22 stone as I was and now standing here at 8 stone 13, I don't think that physically I could possibly overeat and not regain weight. But overeating is a very narrow margin. When you've been up there and weighed that much and now you're like here and you weigh this much, that margin for error, if we want to use that word, or that margin for overeating is minute. I think if you watch Debbie's video this week, and it was a really honest video, I think if you watch Kate's video this week, and that was a very honest video, if you watch those videos and you see those ladies and you see how hard they've worked in the 2-3 years, whatever, they've been around YouTube, and you see how small the margin for error is, because that could be us, that could be me, that could be you, that could be any of us, because we're all made in the same body. It's not a case of, oh, my metabolism's bad. If you've actually got a slow metabolism, sometimes it means you'll live longer. Read the science on it. People years ago, when they were like our forefathers back in the day of the cavemen, it was the people with the low and slow metabolisms that lasted the longest. It was the people who could hold a bit of weight that survived the winters. So our bodies are designed for some of that. It's all very scientific, and I'm not. But believe me when I say that, coming at it from this end of the spectrum, having lost the weight, my margin of being able to overeat is minute before the weight would start going back on. But it doesn't mean it's miserable, because it's not. I am eating better than I've ever ate in my life. Anyway, there's a book recommendation for you. Probably will try and give a copy of the book away within the next month or so. But Dr. Joel Fuhrman, Fuhrman, and the book is called Eat to Live. Or Eat to Live? Yeah, because he does want to eat for life, but I think Eat to Live, I suppose it's the opposite to what I used to do, which was living to eat. Anyway, book recommendation. And then the last thing I'm going to share today, when I was out walking with Joe this morning, just walking up the first hill over here, we were talking about weight and where do you want to go, because now back in the 8s and everything. And we were actually talking about the fact that I don't know actually whether I'm afraid to be skinny. Skinny that's a funny word, isn't it? Slim, I feel like I'm slim. I like to feel like I'm lean. I'm not quite there. But skinny. We were looking, I was telling Joe what Joel Fuhrman had said about how to look at what you should weigh. And he said, for a woman, for your first 5 feet, take 95 pounds. And then for every inch you are over that, take 4 pounds. So 95 plus 8, 103 pounds. 7 stone 3, is that?
I don't know.
Around there, 7 stone 3, 7 stone 5, something like that. That's skinny, isn't it? Before I've always said, oh, if I was 16, you could be that slim, but now I'm not aiming to be in the 7 stones. I'm not saying that for 1 minute. But what I came to the decision when I was walking up the hill with Joe and talking about, being what weight you should be for your height and your BMI and what's a healthy BMI. And at the moment my BMI is 22.86. I said I was aiming for 22.5. That was my next sort of target. I'm only a couple of pounds off that probably. But where am I going to go after that? And what I decided talking to Joe was I'm just going to go and see, or wait and see, where eating this way takes me. Because Joel said in his book that if you continue eating in the same healthy fashion, and what I'm doing with the Free Food from Slimming World is very, very similar to what he talks about. If you just continue doing what you're doing, your body will tell you when you get there, because it'll just stop losing weight. So that's my plan at the moment. But talking about it, I'm always on at Joe about, how much do you weigh? You're 6 feet tall, how much do you weigh? You're too slim. And he said to me this morning, really, Mum, you need to give yourself a reality check, because I'm not too slim. The thing is, you see, I'm used to comparing everybody with where I started. Because I can't see people today, and I am really aware from what Joe tells me, because I ask him about the fact that a lot of people are putting weight on at the moment, which we're putting down to the lockdown and the comfort eating, and it's understandable to a degree. But we're seeing a lot more bigger people. So when you actually feel like you're in the little body, it's strange, because when I was in my big body, when I was 22 stone, I always felt like the odd one out because I was bigger than everybody else. But now I'm in my little body and I'm 8 stone 13. I'm beginning to feel like the odd one out again because I've gone from one extreme to the other. I prefer this extreme. But I think basically the conclusion we came to was you have to just do what you're doing for yourself. Don't compare yourself with others. But there is an element of fear in me about being too slim, being too skinny. And it's not fear of not being able to maintain it, because I know if I eat this way I can maintain it. But it was strange. I've told a story on my video, one of my old videos, about when I started my weight loss journey and I actually went, for the first time in a long time, I went below 20 stone. And that frightened the life out of me. And do you know what my reaction was? Oh my God, am I going to be too thin? How weird. To like go to sort of, I think I went like to 19 stone 13. And I actually was frightened of being too thin. And isn't it funny? I'm 11 stone less than that now. And I actually feel more empowered to cope with the size I am. It's this whole weight loss thing, you know, it's so confusing, it's so scary, it's so not easy. It's not something you can just do and then shove it to the back of the cupboard and get on with your life. It's something I will be conscious of every day for the rest of my life. Maybe if I'd started life this way and been conscious of it, I'd never got up to 22 stone. But yeah, how do you feel about where you're going and what you're going to do when you get there? How do you feel about what your goal is? And if you're at it, do you feel comfortable with it? I mean, do you have friends I know Doris has said in conversations on the comments before, people will say you're too slim, you're too thin. Joel Furman's answer to that is very much, that's because they're not as slim as you. And they're frightened you're going to make them look too big. And I must say, when people say to me, when I'm at this sort of size, you've lost enough, don't lose any more. It's always the people I know who are a good 2 or 3 dress sizes bigger than me. And it's never been a bloke, it's always been women. Are we scared that somebody else might be slimmer than us and that will make us look bigger than we? Well, no, you can't look bigger than you are. You look what you are. You know, I used to say to my husband, does my bum look big in this? And my husband's deathly honest and would say, but your bum is big, why should it look any smaller in that? But he'd say it in a nice way. You know, it's like, well, I'm wearing black because black makes me look smaller. If you're wearing black that's a size 26, it does not make you look smaller. You're kidding yourself. We are what we are, aren't we? Whatever shape and size we are what we are. We just need to own it. And if we don't like it, then we need to change it. And we're all capable of that. Even those of us who can't be running around, like I can't just run around and do all sorts of sport and exercise and stuff. Joel Furman says there's always something you can do, even if it's just getting an arm cycle. You know, if you can't dash around because you're ill or you've got a medical condition that stops you being physically active and that, we can all do something. And I always go back to my consultant, because when my consultant lost her weight 9 years ago, she had a bad back and she couldn't do any exercise at all, but it stopped her losing the weight. If you stop doing this exercise, hand to mouth feeding, and start maybe putting a can of tomatoes in each arm and doing this exercise, you know, you're not even having to get out your chair. But it might aid us, because we can always exercise our arm enough to shove the next chocolate or the next crisp in, can't we? Right. Anyway, that's a ramble today, but it's how I'm feeling and it's what I've got to say. So thanks for being there. Stay safe, everybody, and we will be back on Wednesday. Take care. Bye.